the Chase Thomas Podcast, for people who have nothing but time to kill.
Players 6'8", 6'9", 6'10", who can handle and play make. That's the why, basically. Whether it's Jalen Suggs, whether it's whenever Anthony Black is playing the defense, they have one of the best defenses in the league. Paolo Banchero, that's pretty obvious. You mentioned earlier, unless you're a big Franz Wagner guy, I am a big Franz Wagner guy.
But so how big are we talking here? Do you see, like, what are we talking? Are we talking second team All NBA potential? Like,
I'd say if Franz Wagner were to make an All-Star team, I would be excited enough to understand I didn't expect it, but I would also not be as surprised to where I just can't believe it.
Is that a core guy? Can we call a core guy where it's like you'd be kind of surprised if he made an All-Star team?
He's a core guy with the context of also playing with Paolo. And he had some amazing moments last season also, but core guy, I don't know. I think he's maybe like right on the cusp of that.
Yeah.
But that's the why. The why not, they're still kind of clunky. A lot of front court depth. Back court, I'm still kind of shaky on. They are still a very young team. And so there are games where they can easily win and they just make real bad decisions and just end up blowing it. And I hate to say it because I really liked Cole Anthony when he was in high school, but he's somebody I've been uncertain on his entire NBA career. But I watch the Magic sometimes. They're cool.
Are they coach well?
Yeah, they coach very well.
Okay.
I think anytime you can get a team that young to buy in defensively, I think you're doing a great job as a coach. Just a lot of the losses just come from you.
I think that, like, when you look at their depth too, they still have trades to make, right, Corban? Like, when you look at the Magic, they have some moves that they need to do. Maybe it's this offseason. You're kind of just like, these young guys are starting to get a little bit older, and you're having to make some decisions. Like, and to your point, Kenny, about Cole Anthony, it's like, do you really need he's more of like at the point where he would help a contender a whole lot more, where it's like, you don't really need a Cole Anthony on a young rising team. Like, he's just not one of those core guys, and you could sell high and get some good value. Like, I'd rather turn that into a veteran to help this group, like another Gary Harris, because Gary Harris has been good for them. But just the Cole Anthony types, I just feel like would be more beneficial on a contender. It's like a swing guy, and in that kind of Monty Morris role for Denver and stuff like that. I just feel like that's where Cole Anthony might be better suited, because he does have, I think he's going to be in the NBA a long time. Like, his skill set and everything else, I think Cole Anthony's going to be a long time player, but I don't see the value when you really, really, really need to find out what you have in guys like Anthony Black, Jalen Suggs, and Markelle Fultz, and what you can do. Because I feel like those three are more likely to be part of this core long term. What do you think?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think that I'm surprised there wasn't a lot of moves made. I mean, again, there was the big difference makers, but there was pieces I thought within the margins the Magic could have acquired, more shooting, kind of clear up the guard rotation, things of that nature. But hey, they've been playing strong. Write it out. See what I guess it looks like with a full year sample size. With most of these guys healthy, getting a lot of games from Markelle Fultz, getting a lot of games from Jonathan Isaac, right? Well, relative to the games they played in the past, you've gotten more help from Gary Harris, guys of that nature, right? And then see what happens with the offseason. So yeah, they're not. I mean, they made some noise. They had a red hot start this, early in the season, kind of regrets back to the mean. We knew they weren't that good, as good as they played early, right? But they're a solid, competent basketball team. There's some real, foundation here, and now it's a matter of, okay, the offseason, doing some pruning, trying to build off of that and seeing what happens. So, yeah, ultimately, I'm not mad that they didn't make a move, but they're going to do something. It's not like this team is just set and forget it.
Well, because they're building Toronto South, Chris, with the front office and everything else and their length and athleticism, is this where you're migrating towards as the Raptors go towards the bottom of the East for the foreseeable future and the Magic rise up? Are they your adopted Eastern Conference team for the next couple of years?
It's too soon, man. We're not talking about that right now. Don't bring the Raptors into this with this like 6'9" philosophy, which just like completely backfired. Because we're trading all those guys now. Haven't you heard? Like, Siakam's in Indiana, OG is out in New York. We got Scotty Barnes walking off the court before the game's over, and he's like creating an uproar on Raptors Twitter and whatnot. So that's our big selling point.
So things are going awesome. You're just the meme, the "this is fine" meme.
Why do you think I'm wearing a Spurs hat right now? Because Wembanyama torched my boys last night with 10 blocks in like 29 minutes.
What was that like watching Wembanyama with 10 blocks? Like, what was that like as just a fan of the other team? What do you do?
Joking. I was like, dude, I block more porn bots on my Twitter account during a Raptors game than he had during an actual NBA game. Get on my level, Wemby. Blocks are soft with your double-digit blocks. But no, that was crazy. Like, I know we're completely off topic, but like watching him actually like in Toronto, like 7'4", just like getting whatever he wanted. And Jakob Poeltl's a pretty good interior defender. He looked like such a noob against Wembanyama. It was ridiculous. So yeah, it was a lot of emotions running through me. But to answer your question, what Orlando's trying to do right now, I just looked at the NBA standings. Like I think like best case scenario is like, you know, they get through the play-in tournament. They maybe sneak a game from Boston or Milwaukee in the first round. That's pretty much it. I like what they're trying to do though with like getting these big bodies. Like they have such a nice front court. It's just the back court that's questionable. They're trying to like slot pieces in with like Suggs and Anthony. And I agree, like they should have tried to get something for Anthony at the trade deadline and like a veteran or like, you know, a wing defender or something like that. I think Orlando is just going to come to the realization that like maybe, you know, after the postseason that they inevitably have where it just, you know, doesn't pan out. I think they're just going to go through internal development, kind of like what the Toronto Raptors were doing for many, many years. It's like, we know our group of guys, we just need to keep like the chemistry flowing, you know, 2-3 years of like this core group. Maybe we will find success in the second conference finals or what have you down the road. So I think that's probably the best bet that Orlando has, unless they just like completely, you know, they get rid of one of the Wagner brothers or whatever and try and make a really big splash.
Chris, your wild NBA thought of the week is what? What have you been thinking about? What's your wildest NBA thought this week?
All right. So obviously it's this weekend, right? That the NBA All-Star weekend is this weekend.
Yes.
We haven't talked about anything like that.
I don't know if y'all are all-star guys. I'm not an all-star guy. It's fine. It's fine.
It has its moments. And I feel like we've been kind of like signaling the demise of this event for many, many years. But I'm calling it right now. This weekend is the death of the slam dunk contest. I feel like starting next year, the 3-point shootout is going to start main eventing this day. And I don't think it's like a dead,
right?
I'm not trying to do it as like a shot to like, because this is basically a one-player event. Like it's Mac McClung. Like we're there to see what he does. Jaylen Brown, you know what? Respect to Jaylen Brown for being like the one all-star to actually willingly do this thing. Like he could go like botch every single dunk. He could have 0 points in total. I don't care. Like mad respect for that guy for actually participating. And I could be, you know, shocked by Toppin or Hami, like with the dunks that they do. They're trying to hype themselves up right now on social media. They got some tricks up their sleeve. But if Mac McClung bombs, like if he starts missing dunks, you know, that's kind of one of the big problems with this event is that the guys miss like their first 2 or 3 dunks. And then no one seems to care about anything else. It just kind of like sucks the energy out of the building. I totally...
Nicely done, nephew. The Chase Thomas podcast. Hell yeah.